Last time I was here, I was talking to you guys about getting off trail because I had hurt my ankle. It was really bad yesterday, and by the time I got to camp and stopped, it really started hurting, and I realized that I needed to end this hike before it got worse. Well, now ankle surgery is done, and I'm ready to start hiking again. So this is the Pashubbe Trailhead. It is down about a 3-mile dirt road, so it is one of the safer ones. The one we're ending at, which is Foran Gap, we were going to leave a vehicle there and found a vehicle there broken into, and that's not one of the safest trailheads to leave a vehicle at anyway, so highly recommend a shuttle. We are going to start going up Wilton Mountain. So remember, before we have the land of Puds back there, well, now there's just two distinct mountains. You got Wilton Mountain, which like has no top. I swear you just keep climbing and climbing. And then when you thought that was bad, you get up to Rich Mountain, which is the second highest mountain in Arkansas, and you gotta climb that bitch too. All right, let's get going. We're at the top of Wilton. Haha, psych. This is the false top. The top is over there. Okay, so we are at the top of Wilton Mountain now. Finally, at the top. So there is cell service up here, and this is your last cell service until you start climbing up Rich Mountain. Kiamichi Valley is not good for cell service. So if there's been rain and you're worried about how high the Kiamichi is, this is your last chance to check it before you get down there. Once you get down there, you're going to go across a tributary, and then that very first crossing of the Kiamichi River is your deepest one. So when we get down there, I'll show you another place where you can cross that's a little bit easier if it is really high, but for now, this is your last chance to check in, check the river level, and then you'll be off of cell signal for a while. You ready to go? Let's go hike. We're at the Kiamichi Trailhead, and if you look behind me over here, you'll see this is where the parking area is. On the other side of this gate, there's space to put about 3 vehicles over here. And it looks like some people have camped there as well. The road getting to here is difficult. You would need 4-wheel drive to do it. It does cross the Kiamichi River, and if you're in like a regular sedan, you're probably not going to make it across unless the river is just really, really low. So anyway, we're going to keep hiking, but we are now done coming down Wilton Mountain, and we are officially on the valley floor. Of course, I got to take video of this because I'm so proud. I cut this. So I cut this, and I wasn't about to cut that side too. So we waited until the rest of the group came back, and then everybody sat down here and leg pressed this thing off of the trail. It's a lot of good hard work, but it's also very rewarding, and Foot could always use the help. And Foot is friends with the Washita Trail, who takes care of the maintenance on this trail. So sure would love for more people to come out and get involved. So if you look at things like that trail crosses right here, probably not the best place to cross. So you can kind of go and scout a bit, and we usually recommend that you go upstream. So she's found a much better place here to cross, and you can even see it's pretty shallow. So much better place to cross than right here where the trail crosses. Before you cross, kind of get an idea of where the trail is, so that way you can get back to it, because a couple times we had to go quite a bit further upriver to find a place to get across easier. And then it's good to know exactly where the trail is, so you can see that this trail here is turning and going that way, so you know you can pretty much just cut right across. Okay, my turn. This campsite is at mile 44.4. It's a little slopey, but it wasn't bad. We found places to put our 2 tents. And the cool thing about it, you're already partway up Rich Mountain. So you get part of it knocked out the previous day, and then we'll finish it today. But, I don't know if you can see it, there's a creek right there. There's another little stream right here. So there's like 3 or 4 stream crossings. So it's nice to already have part of your hike done up Rich Mountain, and you're camped by water, so you don't have to carry a bunch of water up here. Just make sure you get on the Far Out app and check the comments and make sure that the creek is flowing. But we've seen comments even from back when it was pretty dry. People were saying that there were still pools that could be found. So there's like 3 or 4 areas where this water is coming down. But strategically, it's a pretty nice place to camp. I'll tell you, in the midst of hiking up a mountain, this Sacramento Trail here certainly makes me feel all the feels. It's so pretty. Left Oklahoma and crossed the line into Arkansas. So you'll see on the trail here, sorry for the wind, it's windy up here. There's a couple signs, and then down there is one of those typical wood trail signs. And then there's a little access trail that comes up here to the road. You can see there's a little parking area up there where that car is. Don't forget to come up here to the road and go get your picture at the state line sign. Alright, here is Dateline Shelter. You see it down there. And doesn't look like there's anybody there right now, but the place we camped at 44.4 with the wind blowing towards me right now, for some reason, I don't know, we were on some kind of shelf that protected us from the wind going up the hill, because we could hear all kinds of heavy wind around us and our tents barely flapped. But up here on top of this hill, at this shelter, it would have been really windy. If you're sleeping on the shelter floor itself, bring something to put under you, like a tent footprint or something, because what will happen is the wind comes up through the floor of the shelter and it can get really cold. Now we keep hiking for Queen Wilhelmina. And I got a Queen's Club in my future. Oh, baby. And if you join the little alcohol club, you can get beer. But for the most part, the next 5 miles or so is pretty much like this. There'll be some little ups and downs, but for the most part, it's a pretty nice little walk, and you have that view the whole time. Also, when you get to the cemetery, make sure that you stop and check it out. The story is all written on a plaque over there, but there's a little girl that got chased by, I think it was wolves, up into a tree, and they wouldn't let her back down, and she ended up freezing to death or something up there, and they buried her right there, and that turns into the cemetery. So definitely stop and check it out. It's pretty cool. Man, that sign right there is an indication that I am so close to a burger, I can taste it. So, what do you do once the trail poops you out right here? If you walk straight up, that's the Talamina Scenic Highway. There's nothing that says which way to go. Go that way. Walk along the fence line and you'll see a cut in the fence. Walk through there and then walk along the road. There's going to be a pier. It'll take you past the bathhouse and free showers. And you could poop on a toilet. No, poop in the toilet, not on it. And then you'll see the lodge up on the hill. At the lodge is where you'll go to get a campsite. You may want to get a reservation made the night before. But the lodge also has rooms with beds, showers. It's really good. Just saying. So as you're hiking up here, you got the ice cream shop that's never open. You got the train track crossing and the stop sign. This parking area right here is the trailhead parking. So if you are hiking the trail and this is the trailhead you're starting at, don't park up by the lodge. Park here. This is for trailhead. So Jessica here, as we're walking up here, mentioned that if you're gonna hike down there at the parking area, they like for you to come up to the front desk and give them a heads up and your license plate number, name, phone number, stuff like that. And then when you're done with your hike and come get your car, to come back up and let them know that you're off the trail. And then they pull your paper out of that little box and throw it away, and then you can be on your way. So I didn't know that. I've just left my car there before. Oops. I don't know what I'd do without this girl. Probably have my car towed.
A lot better would be my guess.
Also, this lodge, you can get yourself a resupply box put together, and you can mail it here to the lodge, and they'll hold it for you at the front desk. So when you're coming through here on your through hike, just stop by the front desk and let them know. As you're hiking, so there's the lodge, right? We went and we hiked over here. There's this thing that says Lover's Leap Trail. It doesn't say anything about the Washita Trail, but if you look way down there, you'll see a little blaze on the tree way down there. So we do go this way. So where it says Lover's Leap Trail, yes, do that. Y'all remember that Section 1 brutality with all the rock glaciers? Then you're like, oh, we're finally past that. Again, psych! Here's another little rock glacier. It's so pretty, and it's so cute. Not like those big giant ones. But coming down the backside of Rich Mountain is very rocky. And like we talked about in the Section 1 video, you gotta watch it because sometimes you'll step on one that looks like it's very solid, and it's not. And it'll wobble, and it'll scare the crap out of you. Okay, I'm gonna quit filming and get over this before I bust my ass. All right, we just crossed this fork of the Washita. Motherfucker. All right, so we just crossed this fork of the Washita River, and y'all, this bridge, when it's been raining, it is slick. I have about gone down on it, so just be careful if it's wet because a lot of moss and stuff grows on it. But it's really, really pretty and good water. So if you're staying at Black Fork Mountain Shelter, you're going to want to get water here to take up to the shelter with you. Next water stop is going to be at Eagle Gap. I believe it's on the North Fork River. Okay. Bye. Oh wait, hang on. Not bye yet. Look down there. Isn't that pretty? And look, there's Jessica's elbow. And then all the YouTube videos you see of people hiking this trail, there is the railroad tracks that everybody is always showing and taking pictures down. So I'm going to go up there and do it for you because I don't know, it's just obligatory at this point. Obligatory. Okay, I am at Black Fork Mountain Shelter. We weren't planning to stay here. We were gonna hike a little bit further to a campsite, but it sets in a saddle and it was so windy up there, and it looked like it's gonna be getting windier throughout the night according to the weather forecast. So we decided to come back here to the shelter, and it was a good call because the shelter is right here, but it actually sits back in this little protected area. So you can see the trees above us have quite a bit of wind blowing through them, but right here everything is steady. So anyway, this is what the shelter looks like. Pretty much like the rest. It's got the little front porch area. It's got the sleeping platform. It has a picnic table and a fire ring. And Jessica and I both really prefer sleeping in our tents. So we've found there is room for a tent right here. We both have duplexes, so they take up a bit of space, but there's a room for a tent right here. And then also back there by where Jessica's standing, behind those two trees, it looks like room for another tent, or even right here if you don't mind a little slopey. So actually I kind of don't think I'd do that one right there if it was raining, just because it looks like water can pool right there. So we're gonna get settled in here and then try and get to sleep early, because we're gonna have a really early start tomorrow because we want to be in time to pick up our shuttle from Foran Gap. It's gonna be a glorious start, and Jessica gets to do her first headlight start hiking. All right, we are getting a morning start, getting on the trail early. Whew. I'll stop walking and look at that sunrise that we're walking into. Oh, so pretty. Okay, this is mile 60.4. Really pretty campsite, nice and flat, but keep in mind it can get really windy up here. So this is a good campsite, and then just a little bit down the way is another little flat spot to put even more tents. So it's very pretty up here. You have a heck of a view. Okay, so we are at the waterfall at, what did I say, 67.2? At 67.2, I don't know what I would do without Jessica reminding me of what mileage points. 67.2. And it's a big waterfall. Actually, it's not that big, because see, look how big my finger is. It's like as big as my finger. But no, it's a really pretty waterfall, and it comes down all these little pretty areas, and there's a little pool here you can get water from. If this is in the drier season, get water here, because this waterfall is pretty reliable. It's during the summer it'll probably just be a little trickle, but it's still going to be water. So next we'll take you over to the creek. This just a little further down, and it's a seasonal one, but every time I've ever been past it, it is flowing. All right, we are coming up on the creek. Ooh, not to fall. Coming up on the creek here, and this is at mile 67.7. It's really pretty, and it's got a nice big deep pool, but on Gut Hook or the Far Out app, it does say that it is a seasonal, but like I said, every time I've ever been past this, it's flowing. Sure is pretty. Okay, let's talk about Far Out. This is a great app that's really going to help you. The icon looks like this, and you'll hear a lot of us old school people refer to it as Gut Hook, but it's now called Far Out, but it used to be called Gut Hook. Anyway, this will give you a little blue dot, so you can see this little blue dot here. That's me standing here on the trail, and this is the creek we just crossed. And the cool thing about it is you can click on that creek, and it'll tell you the name of the creek, and you can, this little bar at the top, you can move it up. It'll show you a picture of the creek, and then you can look at about, and it says Cedar Creek, a seasonal water source. You can go to this comments tab on here, and people will leave you messages to let you know if it's a strong flow, if it's flowing well, if it's not flowing. Some people will say it's not flowing, but someone down here at the bottom, right here at the bottom, this Williams GM says 2 pools, not really flowing. But it at least lets you know you can look for some pools of water. So, and it gives you the date, so it tells you how long ago that was. So you'll want to look at the more recent things. And then the really cool thing about this is that you can look at, like, say, our trailhead we're headed to. It'll tell you down here towards the bottom, this is at mile 68.1, it tells you elevation, and it tells you that it's 0.3 miles ahead. That's pretty cool. And then also, let's look back at that waterfall. This is the waterfall we were at earlier, and it tells us it's 0.6 miles behind. So that's pretty cool. You can look at where you came from and see how many miles you've already hiked, and you can look at where you're going to, and you can see how many miles you still have left. So it's a great planning resource for time and everything else, and we've been using it this whole way down because we have a shuttle coming, and we've been using it to help us sort out time. This beautiful campsite right here is at mile 67.9. It's a nice big flat area. It's a little bit rocky, but there's a place for plenty of tents. So it's a nice option if you're hiking and you don't want to stay up at Foran Gap shelter. You could always camp here. It's very beautiful. This is the Foran Gap Trailhead, and I wanted to make sure to point out these fantastic signs that Foot has been putting out. And they give you all kinds of great information about where you're at and what's coming up, whether you're headed eastbound or westbound. So a huge thank you to Christy Dodd and all the Foot guys who have been working on putting this together. So here's the trailhead. Let's talk about this trailhead. Our plan was to leave a vehicle here and a vehicle at Pashubbe, where we started at. I got here at 10 o'clock at night and found a vehicle here broken into. So the person it had happened to, they got on the official Ouachita Trail Facebook group and posted that they still had a great time and that the Polk County Sheriff was awesome and really helped them out. And they said they can't wait to come back and hike more of the trail. So I'm glad it didn't completely ruin their trip, but it was a shame to see it happen. I would say this trailhead here, Foran Gap, Highway 298 Trailhead, and Highway 7 Trailhead are the ones that are most exposed to a busy highway like this and are probably most likely to get cars vandalized. We decided not to leave a vehicle here after all that, so I called the amazing Lori at the Bluebell Cafe, and she's gonna come and get us and take us back to our cars at the Pashubbe Trailhead where they're both at. Well, you guys, we'll see you on the next one next time. Bye!